many people. Xfinity's David Onda here with John Slattery, Fernanda Andrade, and the stars of the new series neXt. Thank you so much for doing this today. John, you, aside from the Avengers movies, you haven't done a whole lot of work in the sci-fi genre. Here and there. What was it about this story that attracted you?
The lack of sci-fi. I mean, the sci, not so much the fi. You know, I mean, it's very real. I mean, it's happening. I mean, the growth of artificial intelligence and the efforts going into the building of artificial intelligence, and the lack of knowledge of the end game to all of it is what is scary about it. And this script, with John and Glenn, the guys that directed it, and Manny who wrote it, their mandate in the beginning was everything has to be real. The way we play it, the way we shoot it, the way we discuss this thing, and the way my character relates to Fernanda's is trying to explain something that she's not as familiar with as I am, having created this program, is like this thing is, it gets 5% smarter and 10% smarter, and then you turn around and you come back and it's 1,000% smarter, and it knows 100 times what you know. That, you know, and why is it taking orders from you anymore?
Right.
If it's 1,000 times smarter than us, why is it listening to us? So it's a really interesting issue, and it's a really interesting subject to try to dramatize. We did the pilot, and now they're writing, you know, the subsequent episodes, and how to scare the hell out of people with something that's in their, you know, everybody's got one in their pocket, you know, I mean, and sort of trying to dramatize the potential of this thing.
So if you're the creator of the neXt program, Fernanda, where do you come into this story?
I play Shay Salazar, and she's an FBI agent. She's a cybercrime agent, and she works with her team, and she's very dedicated, and she's actually not in that. She's not thinking about AI at all when you meet her. She's going through her own troubles. She just lost somebody who she really loves. It's a father figure to her, but he died in a very suspicious way. And so in investigating that, her character finds John's character, and he is very sure that this is artificial intelligence, and it takes her a while to even warm up to it, which to me was very relatable, because it, like John said, it's kind of this invisible thing that we don't really see how much is infiltrating in our lives, and as it starts to really penetrate her family life, her work life, and start to really destroy it, it becomes apparent that he's right, and we kind of develop this bond to take this thing on and try to stop it before it gets really bad.
In what ways does the artificial intelligence manifest itself in this real world in a negative way in the story? Is it just simply creepy how much it knows, or is it able to cause some actual destructive damage?
Well, I think that when Manny wrote about it, and he did a lot of research, and this idea that we have that's not happening right now isn't really a certainty, right? Because the technology, we have the capacity to do those things with technology, and we really don't know who's doing it and who isn't doing it. You know, Elon Musk has talked about it, Sam Harris has talked about it in podcasts, where if it were really to happen, it truly is a horror story, because there's no way of knowing that something that has a consciousness that's self-serving has any sort of benevolent, you know, goal. So I think it's that terror that really shines through we're trying to tell that story from that.
Yeah.
From trying to stop that from happening.
It gets into the Alexa of her son, her son's character. I mean, her character's son, and starts talking to, and you know, and this kid's what is he, 11 or
yeah.
7? You know, so the trying to dramatize the ways that it's invades people's lives like that. There's a character that gets killed in a car, or gets into a car accident, and you aren't sure whether this artificial intelligence program is following this guy through his car, through the cash register and the cameras at a store that he's at, and keeping track of him. And then he goes into the hospital, and it's monitored. He's being monitored by all these machines. So it's, those are the physical ways that it gets into, the lives of the characters.
It's just making you buy yogurt all the time because it just keeps hearing you talk about yogurt, and suddenly,
Right.
Chobani yogurt all the time.
Exactly. Well, it knows where you go, and it knows what you buy, and it knows how much money you have. Yeah.
Well, quick before I let you go, who is this show for? Who's going to be the demo who's really going to enjoy this? Sci-fi fans, or is it for everybody?
I think it's for everybody. I mean, we all have these. We all are so dependent and ever growing dependence on, or interest in, artificial intelligence. I mean, computers, phones, the internet, social media. I mean, the interconnectivity of all of it is that everybody participates in it. So it isn't just gadget geeks or sci-fi people. It's, people at home who have these things. Everybody has this stuff that's supposed to make their life more convenient, but we're letting all this stuff into our lives.
We're all doomed.
All of us. So we're all doomed.
Like, if there's any place to geek out about things, it's Comic-Con.
Oh my God, I saw a woman wearing a Totoro thing last night, and I'm so excited. I really like Miyazaki.
Okay.
He's like my favorite. Anyway.
What are the things you geek out about?
Yeah.
No idea what everybody's talking about right now. I have no idea.
You're at the wrong place then, I think.
I think I am. Yeah. I saw a guy at the bar dressed like a Cobra Kai member from Karate Kid.
Oh, okay.
I referenced that.
That's okay.
Yeah. Well, it's not good enough
it's
apparently.
No Princess Mononoke, but
I guess not.
What are we talking about here? Next.
Right.
Show.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to do the whole, tell me about your characters. Introduce us to who they are.
I play a guy named CM who's a computer hacker who wears an ankle bracelet. He's been to prison, apparently, and I'm not sure if we like him yet. Who do you play?
Well, let me tell you. I play Gina. She's a data analyst and works at the FBI. That's
all you can
yeah,
say.
period. That's it.
Can you just walk in the door and play a data analyst and a hacker, or how do you even prepare for a role like that? Because I'm sure it's a lot of very technical jargon, and is that all in the script, or do you do some research?
She's been really good about researching.
But it's not. I'm just genuinely into all this AI stuff. So it sounds like oh, I did my research. No, I'm just find it really fascinating, and so I read about it and listened to it. And so when the script came along, I was like, oh my God, this is so cool. I was like, yes, this is all happening. It was out of all it's just exciting to be part of a project that you actually believe in, and actually you're like, yes, listen to this stuff because it's happening. I sound like such a conspiracy theorist when I go off about this, but it's really interesting stuff. Yeah. Anyway, so
is that the fan base you're going to attract for this? Conspiracy theories? Who's the show for?
Oh, I think it's for everybody. I think it's not just about AI. I think I feel like it's kind of a tradition of there's just kind of this. It's to me, it reminds me of the Blob. You know what I mean? There's just this huge kind of bloodless, lifeless, faceless thing that's everywhere, and it's consuming everything around us, and we're fighting this thing that we can't see. And I think that's the suspense of it. You know what I mean? It's kind of.
Yeah, and I also say it's not conspiracy theories. Technology is really affecting humanity right now, and it's in terms of it, but it's true. Even our cell phones, we're on them all the time, and no one is really there's a bunch of research that is being done, but we've accepted this form into our society without questioning how it's affecting us, and the result of it is actually quite traumatizing. Teenage suicide is up through the roof. The Atlantic published an article about it a couple years back that's just it's really, and it's because of technology, so in terms of it's a very real threat that's happening. Obviously our show takes it to the next level of what if AI gained consciousness, but you also have people Bill Gates, Elon Musk talking about it, that it is a reality, and what do we do if that happens,
We were talking about earlier the times that you've mentioned a product or something in your personal life and then suddenly seen an advertisement for it. Can you remember a situation where that's happened to you?
I mean,
It's Propecia. No, I'm just kidding. No, I mean.
I can't think of a specific thing, but it happens on like Instagram and stuff all
really
the time.
weird.
You mention it and then comes up, and I think we've just accepted that as being the norm, and that's what's really terrifying. Is like, oh, okay, this is just normal. This is just normal. At what point does it stop being normal? And you're like, wait, what is this doing, and how is it affecting the way that my brain thinks? You know, like it's. Yeah, like the fact that nobody knows how to get places anywhere without the GPS. Like I have one friend who knows how to get to my house without GPS, and it's because he has a flip phone. Wow. Yeah, he still has a flip phone, and he's the only person out of, like, I've lived in the same place for like 3 years. You know, so out of all my friends who've come over, and I just, it's interesting when you see that kind of like alteration of people's personalities, and not personalities, sorry, just the way in which we live, you know?
In neXt, what is the actual threat? The knowledge that that this thing is gaining, or does it find some way to kill people, a la like Final Destination situation?
The pilot, it takes a life through manipulating. Sorry.
You're gonna have to watch it.
No. Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, it can like if you're what is the thing? Alexa. If Alexa started talking to your kids or something, like that's creepy.
Yeah.
And what if they like starts telling your kids to do things or to go play, you know, like, or something like, so it definitely can start to wiggle into your life, or like. But
again, because it's so become the norm, you don't even realize the effect that it's having. You know, right. It's kind of like it's normal for us to go into a grocery store and be able to buy, you know, whatever fruit we want. But in like lots of places in the world, they can't do that. You know, and that's not the norm. So the equivalent of that, but technology-wise.
Got it. Well, I can't wait. You've sold me. Hi.
Hi.
Give me the what's the deal with this show? That's how I'm going to start out.
Very good. So the deal with neXt is it's about artificial intelligence and how it's taking over the world and breaking up all different kinds of families. Families that work together. I'm the brother of John Slattery, the #1, and we've created this thing together that is taking over the world, and that's not good.
Yeah. And neXt itself is like kind of like a closed loop. It's not connected to the rest of the internet, correct?
Have you seen the pilot?
I haven't.
Oh.
They say it in the trailer.
It's not supposed to be connected with the world, but maybe it is connected to the world.
What drew you to this project initially?
Well, I love John Slattery. I'm from New York and theater, and so I've known him for a long time. And I love John, Riqua, and Glenn Ficarra. They're such great directors and collaborators. And then obviously, I didn't know Manny beforehand, but Dexter and 24 they're incredible. So I was excited.
Has this show made you think at all about how you use technology in your daily life?
I mean, 100%. I was already worried about it, and already worried that I was like a conspiracy theorist, paranoid person. But we know, point in fact, that all of our devices are recording us. We all know that like some places that own places that also own places of food and things that we buy and they make product and content. They know what we're eating and where we're going. So I was already concerned about it, but I'm really concerned. I have like one of those things on my computer now where you slide it so the camera can't, even if the camera's on,
right.
It can't record you.
Can you recall one of those moments where you had a conversation in your daily private life and suddenly you had an ad pop up?
I can recall the first time it happened, which was we were at dinner and we were trying to be good friends, and we all put our phones, it's recording this interview right now, we all put our phones on the table, and we talked about a specific brand of ice cream, Talenti ice cream, everybody. Mint chip is very good, Moroccan mint chip. And we were talking about it, and the next day I got an ad. I had never had an ad for ice cream. I'd never had an ad for Talenti ice cream, and I certainly had never had an ad for mint chip, Moroccan mint chip, Talenti ice cream. And there it was.
The only difference then, I'm assuming, is in neXt, the mint chip ice cream kills you.
It could kill you. I think neXt, the thing about neXt is that it's gonna know things about you. It's gonna communicate with you, and then it's gonna create a way that you're gonna die, and you don't even realize it's gonna kill you.
Also, I mean, you sold me on the show.
I mean, how can you not watch
Right.
it?